Hey everyone. Wow. This kind of shit is pretty disturbing stuff if you think about it with proper perspective, right? Now, I don't know if you've heard about it so far, but an announcement was made not too long ago, but Zuckerberg is contemplating running for president of the United States in 2020. And think about what that would mean. This is the guy that is the CEO of Facebook, right? And think about the vast amount of data. And we all remember the revelations, the Snowden revelations, how all these companies, not only do they have massive amounts of data on now up to 2 billion people on the planet, but they've been doing some very unscrupulous practices in helping these central planning types, these authoritarians, right? The government hacks and using these measures to be invasive and invade the privacies of, well, billions of people around the world, right? We understand. No one really knew this fully, although a lot of people have put forth and presented some dialogue narratives that were suspect or suspicion of such. But it wasn't until the Snowden revelations come to light that we all learned, oh shit, a lot of these big companies are working with big government, right? Now, think about someone like this person. I mean, he's fairly young. He's from that millennial age demographic. He has that kind of, he's a young looking kind of charismatic. You always get, this is the kind of guy that if you think about someone that could come to rise to a position of authority under the guise of benevolence, look no further than a Zuckerberg type, right? This is the guy. Look, who would ever suspect someone like Zuckerberg? Oh, he couldn't be bad or have any ill intentions. Look at it. Look at his little baby face, right? Like I said, you gotta be perceptive in the fact that, snake oil salesmen, if they come at you with like a beard and holding an axe over their shoulder, you probably see them all coming and run away immediately. The most deceptive and devious among us come to you looking at like they're the most benevolent, right? Think of it, benevolent, like, especially some of the clergymen like that have been pedophiles, and think about the people. To put yourself and place yourself in a position of authority where people will trust you, you have to present yourself in a totally different light than a typical person that's not really looking to seek or dominate or control gigantic land masses or populations. So please be astute enough to recognize and realize that fact, or at least the historical precedent as such. Not to suggest 100%. I don't know Zuckerberg enough, but it's enough. I know enough that I would be like, I don't care how good. Hey, if you're that good, if you want to help people, well, you already have a platform with 2 billion people where you can spread information. You're one of the guys that have invented and created the modern Gutenberg press type, or at least something closely aligned to it. So you have a platform. So you don't need to go into politics if you want to affect change, right? You don't have to. But if you are trying to go into politics to affect change, even though you have this gigantic platform to do so, that's telling me you're seeking a whole lot more power than you already have. Someone like Zuckerberg has massive amounts of power. This is one of the most powerful people, if you think about it, on the planet. And he's seeking even more power. And at least his power right now isn't the conceptual type of power of being an authority over you. He's just a businessman so far. So at least your perception of him is opt in, opt out, and you have that option. Once he becomes a political master or a political leader, that opt in, opt out, that no longer exists. Please, 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 whether you're Canadian, American, or anyone that's listening to this video, keep all that stuff front and center in your mind when you're talking about or thinking about voting for someone such as Mark Zuckerberg, right? Or supporting that pretense at all. Headline from the Wall Street Journal, of course. Right? Attack PewDiePie, but they seem to be quite aligned with supporting Zucky here. Mark Zuckerberg hits the road to meet regular folks with a few conditions. As he tours America, Facebook CEO appears at homes and businesses with little notice, asked not to be quoted, and not always recognized. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to understand America, so he's embarked on a journey to meet people like hockey moms and steelworkers who don't typically cross his path. Doing that, shake hands, kissing babies, right? Now, he's truly, that's already telling you, yeah, he's definitely want to go the political route, right? Wow. But there are rules to abide by if you are an ordinary person about to be an extraordinary entrepreneur. Rule 1, you probably won't know Mr. Zuckerberg is coming. So he's not even giving you, right, fear of his safety or security. I mean, you got billions of dollars, dude, or whatever. But if you're supposed to be a man of the people, right? I mean, this is the thing that I just don't understand. Like, these people, like, anyways, rule 2. If you do know he's coming, keep it to yourself. So secrecy is key, right? Rule 3, be careful what you reveal about the meeting. While the Facebook CEO has built a social network that inspired people around the world to share the most intimate details about their personal lives, his team goes to extraordinary lengths to keep his movements under wrap and control how he is perceived. Midway through a personal challenge to travel to 30 states he'd never visited, the 33-year-old aims to talk to more people about how they're living, working, and thinking about the future, he wrote in January on his Facebook page. Right? Right, like I said, all we need now is, like I say, a picture of him kissing the babies, right? Well, that'll happen once he, I guess, announces his run. Among those people, or in official, right? Among those people was Carl McCassin, manager of the Wilton Candy Kitchen, a century-old shop on the town square in Wilton, Iowa. He was at work one Monday afternoon, June, when 2 men and a woman dressed in jeans and button-down shirts entered the store, which is a regular stop on Iowa's presidential campaign circuit. The 3 said they were from California on a business trip on their way to Chicago and asked Mr. McCassin for a tour of the store and its museum of the history of Wilton, population 2,800. They didn't tell their names, he said, and he thought it impolite to ask. 4 days later, the same 3 people returned to the candy store, and one of his new customers revealed their true mission. Mark Zuckerberg will be here in 5 minutes. A startled Mr. McCassin, 54, asked, "What do I need to do?" he recalled, and was told, "Nothing." Mr. Zuckerberg walked through the red and white store door. He ordered a $5.75 chocolate malt. An assistant paid the world's 5th richest man's tab with a debit card. The tech titan chatted with the young cashier about her future plans and spoke to Mr. McCassin about life in Wilton and the city's downtown revitalization efforts. Members of Mr. Zuckerberg's team plan his visits with secrecy, but there are rare instances of the Facebook CEO's cover being blown. The result? Chaos. When someone let slip he'd be at the Kazania Cafe on Chicago's South Side, Renee Bangs, a barista, said she had to fetch extra chairs for the 100 people who showed up. Amy Dudley, a spokeswoman for the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, LLC, an entity formed in 2015 by Mr. Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, which is helping to arrange the CEO's tour, said the design of these visits is to have the most honest and candid interaction and discussion as possible without the additional attention that's likely to come as a result of word getting out ahead of time. For nearly a decade, Mr. Zuckerberg has started every year with a personal challenge. In 2009, this meant wearing a tie every day. Another year, he swore only to eat meat that he had personally slaughtered. "I just killed a pig and a goat," he boasted in a private Facebook post in 2011. Facebook, the 13-year-old company he co-founded, now has 2 billion monthly active users. Its market value is $446 billion. In Wilton, Mr. Zuckerberg's advanced team had stopped at City Hall to secure a meeting with Wilton Mayor Bob Burr and City Administrator Chris Ball to discuss life in rural Iowa before the CEO went to the candy store. So I'll place a link to this article in the description of this video below. But like I say, and I don't personally have anything against Zuckerberg. He might very well be, I don't know the man personally, he might very well be just a good guy. But like I say, and like anyone could tell you, I mean, it's just understandable. I mean, just use your own personal experience, anecdotal experience, and historical precedent and philosophy and principle. Use policy. Use all that as the basis, and you'll come to the same logical conclusion time after time after time after time. Is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Zuckerberg, I just don't believe. Now, he might be benevolent. He might have good intentions at the time, but like I say, someone with that much information and historical data, and the way he manipulates the algorithms and or his team does, right? Because it's not just him, but the way that whole central planning system works of Facebook, I'm sorry. And it's not nothing against him personally. Hey, be a good business guy. Just be a good business leader. Hey, Facebook, whether it succeeds or fails, hey, you've already achieved a great amount of success and have helped a lot of people along the way. So, why is that not enough? Like I say, it almost seems diabolical when these people seek out more than that kind of power they already have and have attained. That's the first thing that on the back of my mind. And I'm sorry, like I say, it's just I'm just being protective in nature because of, like I say, historical precedent, right? It's just like if you touch the stove and you burnt your hand, chances are, even if you're foolish enough to do it the second time or maybe even the third time, eventually you're going to learn that I gotta stop putting my hand on that stove because it's going to burn. Because every time I do it, it's been shown to burn my hand. Is it possible that you could do it without burning your hand? Hey, I don't know. Maybe they could make some wickedly fine coating on your fingers that could prevent that heat and dissipate it and send it elsewhere, right? I don't know. But to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to politicians and politics and central planning and how that whole entity works and how it functions, it's ruled by force, ruled by edict, right? Coercive at its very core. So at the very least, I want to greatly reduce and shrink that kind of pretense of role of authority or even the legitimacy of that authority. And Zuckerberg, whether he's good or bad or anywhere in between, yeah, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Stick to what you do. Stick to being an entrepreneur, right? Stay out of the realm of politics, Zuckerberg. That's my advice to you. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.